We don't have sewers. We need the berm on the beach. We need the berm on the bayside, and they're not doing anything for us. We have people starting to look at the gas lines over here. This is now 8 months later. You know, we feel a little bit like the lower third ward, New Orleans. But maybe we'll show them today that we can turn out. We pay taxes and we vote. So we want to know from mayoral candidates what they're going to do for us.
Now, have any mayoral candidates come down in person?
I haven't seen one, no.
I don't think I've been at a rally that was so well attended on such short notice, and that just speaks volumes about what a great community Breezy Point is. So thank you, everybody. This is not going to come as a big surprise to anybody standing here, but 8.5 months ago we had quite a storm. And I know that because my own house saw 5 feet of water and thousands of dollars in damage. And I thank God for my wife and my family and for the community around us, because if it wasn't for our neighbors helping neighbors, families helping families, we never would have got to today. So I know exactly what you're going through. The way the layout of the land, the way the layout of our homes, there's a special requirement by state law that requires not just a regular buildings permit, but another BSA process, with anybody who's done anything in Breezy knows, which could take another 12 to 18 months on top of the process. And they said to me, Phil, it's a state law. I was shocked. Why is the state getting involved in the local zoning and building codes? But as it turns out, it was a state law. And almost immediately, in the beginning of February, we drafted a bill that does away, for 1 year, does away with the BSA requirements for the homes in Breezy Point specifically. Now we faced, it wasn't all fun and games and easy. You know, everybody came out here and said how they're going to try and help us, but when it came to taking this bill and making sure that it passed in the legislature, there were a lot of roadblocks. And people from the community, the board, came up to Albany week after week to negotiate, to talk, conference call after conference call. Hurdles like people in the mayor's office who wanted to do it the way they thought it should be done. Our goal was to do it the way the neighborhood thought it should be done. And in early May, I'm proud to say the Assembly passed the bill. Okay? It took us another few weeks, almost a month, but I'm happy to report that in the beginning of June it passed out of the Senate, and in early July it was sent to the governor for signing. It has been 8 official days since the governor has received it, and I know that we all joined here to urge the governor to sign it. I'm proud to report that the governor has signed it this afternoon. For everybody standing here, you know what the difficulties have been, and you know what we've been through. But for everybody across the city and across the state and across the country, our families are still struggling. And today is a historic day because today we say we're ready to rebuild. We're ready to rebuild, and we're ready to put the shovels in the ground. Today we reaffirm that it's not just about statements, it's not just about press conferences, and it's not just about pictures. Today we reaffirm it's about people. It's about our homes, and it's about really building Breezy Point back better than ever. Because the homes in Breezy Point don't have street frontage, as everybody knows, they're built on pathways. The city and the state requires BSA approval, Board of Standard Appeals, and essentially get a variance. What this bill does, it takes a 1-year moratorium. For the next year, you will not need that BSA approval. Be able to go straight through the buildings department, and I know with the work of our city government, we'll finally be able to get those permits through, and building will begin.
And that approval would have taken
12 to 18 months for nothing. I mean, as anybody can tell you, it's really just a formality. Every time you go to BSA, 99.9% of the times they sign it anyway, but they make you wait for it. We no longer have to wait for it. This bill is going to get done. Everybody wants to get home.
Does the 1-year period start today, or at what point does this go into effect?
The 1-year moratorium goes effective the governor's signature, which is this afternoon.
Now, but I did this letter to the governor on July 9th saying sign the bill. There's no valid reason why you shouldn't sign the bill. Sign the bill. It's good for our people in Breezy Point. It's really going to help. But again, it's far from over. Look forward to working with you. There were those in the Senate, as I advocated this bill, who never heard of Breezy. There are those people in the state who never heard of Breezy. Now they know of Breezy.
You know, Phil is being very shy, because I have to tell you, if it were not for his efforts being the main driving force behind this legislation since day one, even when people said that it would never happen, we would not be standing here today. It is because of your Assemblyman, Phil Goldfeder, that this bill was signed into law today. I think it's important that we give credit where credit is due. We are certainly grateful for Senator Adabo and his colleagues in the state Senate, and of course for Governor Cuomo. Governor Cuomo came here following Hurricane Sandy like all the other politicians came here. And they took lots of pictures and they made lots of promises. Some of them kept the promises they made, some of them did not. I'm glad to say that Governor Cuomo kept that promise, and I want to thank him for signing the bill into law today. This is going to remove a lot of red tape and a lot of bureaucratic nonsense that is standing in the way of all of you rebuilding your homes and rebuilding this community the way that it should be. Now that this law has been passed, we have essentially cut the red tape, cut the bureaucracy. We are now going to the buildings department. We will make sure that the permits are expedited, that they're not sitting on anybody's desk. And that the homes are rebuilt. I was with my friend and your neighbor, Congressman, our former Congressman Bob Turner, just the other night, and he is eager to rebuild. And like so many other people who lost their homes in the fire or the flood, they simply could not wait any longer. They have their architect. They had the little bit of money that they needed to get started. They just needed the government to get out of their way and let them rebuild their homes. On behalf of Bob Turner, on behalf of all of you, and on behalf of myself, I want to say thank you and congratulations. A job well done. Thank you.
And it's a major step. But I'm very happy that Councilman Orlick is here, because it's going to be on his shoulders to deal with the Department of Buildings. We are going to rely on Eric, and he and I and Denise are going to speak every day. Believe me, we have got a significant accomplishment, truly done. That this BSA thing was an administrative nightmare, and it's over and done with. We had the second administrative nightmare, 135 homes gone right here, fire zone area. 220 other homes in this community gone, nothing but sites. These houses have to be rebuilt. It's now going on more than 8 months. Somebody give us a building department permit, and Eric, I'm waiting on you. Thank you.
Feels good to pass it to Eric. Of course, another great friend, and needs no introduction, Joe Lee.
Yay!
We have 2,837 families down in Breezy Point. And after the storm, 125 lost their homes in the flood. Another 200 or so lost their homes due to the flooding, the destruction, and the fire. We've come a long way, but we have a long way to go. I want to thank Governor Cuomo for signing the bill today. I want to thank Assemblyman Goldfeder, Joe Adabo, Eric for their help. Bruce Simon's always a help to us too. We're going to continue to fight on behalf of our shareholders. We have a long way to go, but we will rebuild our community. Thank you very much.
But I have many friends and neighbors who were burned out completely, so forth, and now they have a ray of sunshine coming in.
I am so relieved and elated that they're going to do this for us, because mine was a new construction. It was only just about 4.5 years old, brand new construction. My daughter and I stayed that night. We had a pet, a black lab. We couldn't get out of the house due to the flooding and the fire. We actually had to jump out the windows. of my home to escape, and we lost our dog in the process.
Now, I noticed you were thanking Phil Goldfeder. How helpful has he been to the community?
Wonderful. Breezy Point has been in contact with him, and we've been on the phone making phone calls to tell people to please help us get us back home. It's over 8 months now. We want to come home to our homes. This is where our families grew up. My family has been down here since the 1920s in Breezy Point. It was my grandfather's and grandmom's home and my mom's home, and now it's my home with my children, and we want to come home. And we just wanted someone to help us get going and recognize that we're still here, that we need help. So I'm so happy to come here today. I took off from school. I'm in school right now. I'm a teacher, and I'm taking classes, and I ran here to come here to see what they had to say.
It's a historic day for the residents of Breezy Point. After 8.5 months of suffering in this community, finally they're going to give them the permission that they need to build their homes. This is a great thing. The people in Breezy are the best. I want to thank Governor Cuomo for signing the bill today. My name is Lou Simon. I've been the Democratic District Leader here 19 years and proud to stand here today in this historic event.
So can you explain why the bill is only for 1 year and not something maybe just, forever?
My focus is on trying to get this community back up and running. And while it might make sense to do long term in 5 years and 10 years and even forever, right now my focus is on getting this done immediately. We've done that, and now we get to focus on the next thing. So we're taking small steps. My goal is to get it passed. I didn't want to put any hurdles in the way of getting this thing passed and getting it signed. So we chose a more moderate approach. We got it passed. Families can actually start building now, and then, God willing, we'll keep working to make sure that we do what's in the best interest of this community for all.
Actually, my house was burned to the ground with everything that I own in it. It was my primary residence, my only residence, and absolutely, this is, we've been waiting and waiting and waiting for it, and finally, so it's a go-ahead for us, and I'm ready to build again.
Yes, I'm also on that block, and while it wasn't everything I owned, it was very much a part of my life for 38 years, and a tragedy. My children all grew up here, and I'm so excited that we're going to be able to put the papers are in, and now they can move, and we'll get back.